Okay, Shalom Aleichem, Chevra. We've been speaking about something called the world to come a little bit. And I told a couple days ago a story, which is really a medrash, about two babies in the mother's womb. And one of the babies says, there's going to be a world after this. And the other baby said, why are you being so optimistic? This is all there is, man. And then we said the entire story, that's one analogy about the transition from this world to the world to come. And because we were all met with what happened with our dear friend, Yoshua Aryeh, so we wanted to speak about that, to process it. That it could be something that's something we can relate to more of what it means to transition. And that's that transition, just like the babies inside the womb. From our perspective out here, we say, you think that's all there is? There's a beautiful world that's coming. This is just the preparation stage for something so much bigger. So don't get lost in the sauce, of this world. But know that this is a preparation, this is a pruzbor. The pruzbor going to the traklin, going to the palace. And almost in comparison, that smallness, that the cramped inness. And yes, where there's gestation, where there's growing, but it's all to get to this unbelievable world. It's almost insane just how much bigger in perspective this world is, from the womb to where it's all going. And we have to keep this in mind. So my wife said, this is a song by Journeys, by A.B. Rottenberg. And so I came home yesterday and she said, let's play the song. And I wanted to play it for all of us. So we can play it. Thank you, Kobe. This is, we're going to play it. And yeah. Okay.
He's a phone speaker.
Yeah. We like to do things properly here. So we're going to listen to this. It's very moving. It's very, very moving. And just listen to the words carefully, the song. The song is called Conversations in the Womb. And this is really just to kind of get it deeper inside of us.
Look around and tell me what your eyes behold. Don't deny what you see. It's only you and me. Our existence is empty. It is cold. Our existence is empty. It is cold. But dear brother, you must have faith that we are not the only ones. 'Cause in the distance there's a place where we'll stand up tall and straight. Oh, I believe that there is a world to come. Yes, I believe that there is a world to come. My dear brother, don't be blind. Don't be stubborn, don't be set. Imagination, it's alright, but it won't light up the night. What you see is exactly what you get. What you see is exactly what you get. But dear brother, you will surely find when all is said and done, that the future it will show dear brother, where have you gone? Is this the moment I have known? I can faintly hear the cry. My dear brother must have died. It's all over, now forever I'm alone. Oh, it's all over, now forever I'm alone. But dear brother, please don't mourn me when my life has just begun. What you hear are sounds of joy. Congratulations, it's a boy. Oh, I believe that there is a world to come. Yes, I believe that there is a world to come. 'Cause what you hear are sounds of joy. Congratulations, it's a boy. Soon you'll be here with me in this world to come. Soon you'll be here with me in this world to come.
Thank you. So, when he says, don't mourn me, this is, my life has only begun. My life has only begun. There's a long journey ahead. We're going to tremendous places. So it's something we want to internalize that. We're just beginning this journey. The whole of the growth is here. Yes, the baby is only relevant because they went through the womb. The baby only has a life because they were able to be gestated and grown and nourished. But the life hasn't even begun. We're beginning. This is a very long journey. And I like another line that really gets to me is when the skeptical brother says, this is all there is. This is just this dark and cold place. This is all there is. And don't be such a person of fairy tales and imagination. And he says, no, you don't understand. There's a world here that we're so crouched in, but we're going to a place where we're going to be able to stand up straight. In this world, we're crouched. We haven't fully unleashed who we really are. Because, like the Zohar says, this world is called the Alma de Shikra, the world of lies. And what you kind of see on face value is not it. On face value, they tell you just, eat, drink, and be merry. Because tomorrow we're going to die. So that's basically it. And we say, no, this is just the beginning of a very long, long journey. Just like the child being born, and he's telling him, don't you know what's going on here? They're celebrating. Congratulations, it's a baby boy, it's so beautiful. So we're just beginning this journey. And it's something in Torah that we try to really teach people how to go on this journey. How to both have the gestation period properly, and then how to continue. How to continue forever. It's a very, very long trip ahead. And that's really what we're doing every single day here. Is we're just getting ourselves ready. We're, so to speak, in this womb, growing and growing and growing, and then we're going to go meet our mother. We're going to go meet the one that's been sustaining us the whole time, but we couldn't see that. And it's interesting, when a baby's in the womb, so it's inside, it doesn't see the mother per se. But then the baby comes out and it nurses face to face. It realizes so clearly where the nourishment is coming from. It's like it's so obvious, and really it understands that the whole time I was being sustained. So this is what it's all about. Yeah, Kobe.
Is it true that Olam Haba is greater than this world, but it's another transition point, really, just for the reincarnation?
So when we mean Olam Haba, we mean specifically. It can mean just after this world. It can mean that we've moved on from this world. We've gone through that passageway. It also means, though, we use that, but more specifically meaning like the world of souls. Because after this world, there's such a thing called the world of souls, otherwise known as Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. And in the Garden of Eden, that's like a waiting room, where basically all the souls are there, waiting for the resurrection. The resurrection will be both in this world, which will be in the times of Mashiach. There'll be a gift of resurrection for those righteous who merited through their good deeds to come back and see what a perfected world down here looks like. It's going to be very interesting when you see a world here, this world, a perfected world down here, where all world governments are actually helping each other. And people are really creating peace. And there's no more violence in the world, there's no more looting. Could you imagine such a thing? There's no more slander. The evil of the world is eradicated through Mashiach. So there will be a gift, that there'll be a resurrection in this world for the righteous to experience. But then there will be the next phase, which there will be a transition, another transition, or there'll be a final judgment, and then there'll be a final resurrection for everybody, and that's what we call the real classical world to come, which will go on for all eternity. That's called Ein Lo Yirasa. That's a place that no one has seen. So any near-death experiences, that's not experiencing the world to come, that's experiencing Gan Eden, the soul worlds. The world to come will be an unleashed level of love and compassion from God that not even the greatest of prophets have ever seen. So sometimes we refer to world to come as just passing on from this world. He's in the world to come. But that's more specifically the Garden of Eden or the world of souls. And then the world to come, which is called Ein Lo Yirasa, Elakim Zulasecha, that no one has seen this except for you, Hashem. This is the world to come that will happen after the final day of judgment, and that will go on forever. Do you know how long forever is, David?
Pretty long.
A pretty long time.
Oh, but is the Garden of Eden also a physical place, or when it talks about it, like in Genesis 1, like is that just a spiritual place?
Excellent question. So there's different levels of Gan Eden. It's called Gan Eden Elyon, Gan Eden Tachton, higher Gan Eden, lower Gan Eden. There's tubes that connect them, i.e. spiritual connection points. Is there a also physical place? It appears yes. Here the Temple Mount as a physical manifestation of that. There are certain places, though, physically, that you could be somewhere, but you don't necessarily know you're there if you're not on that spiritual state of consciousness. Doesn't mean that you walk all of a sudden like into the desert and like, oh, it's like, is it really? Like you see like the oasis in the distance, Gan Eden, and it's like a Bud Light commercial in there, like whoa, past the bruise.
Like a giant sign.
Yeah, giant sign, like Gan Eden this way, guys. And you walk in and the music is pumping, and it's like, I was waiting for this. It doesn't mean that it has to be, and there's like, women playing harps, or whatever other stuff like you're imagining in your head. It doesn't have, and they give you like, free gifts at the door and golden goblets, and it's like, I found it. So, it's not like that. It's a place in consciousness, but there are also physical places that, yes, for those who can find it and see it, they can access that. It says that
if it's a place in consciousness, then it could be everywhere, right?
It could be everywhere. There's certain, let's call them vortex centers, where it's easier to enter in, like holy sites.
But what about the place where Adam was? Was he a soul or was he a body?
Oh, yeah.
So very good. So he was both. He was both. Yeah, he was both. the kind of location where he was right here. It might have been expanded into Iraq. It might have had a very large location. He was here. Yeah.
I thought like the entrance to Gan Eden is in the cave of Machpelah.
Yeah, so there's an entrance point and there's an exit point. So yes, Gan Eden has a number of ways to go in and out. And also Gan Eden being a place as well, like we said in consciousness, when it says that Arba Nichnasu Lepardes, that 4 rabbis entered into the garden, the Pardes. So it doesn't mean that they had to, like they were on like a hiking trip, and all of a sudden like one of them was like, look behind this waterfall, and they found like, you know, that scene we just described. It means they were sitting in the Beis Medrash, learning like we're learning right now, and they entered into the Pardes. You ever been up late learning something and you felt like we just something is like happening here? We're entering a new realm of consciousness. If you haven't yet, then I suggest stay up late and learn the Beis Medrash, especially on Thursday nights. That's the night when things like that happen, because it's called the night of Yesod. Yesod is a connection point. That's Yosef Atzadik. That's the point of connection. We're connecting into higher realms. So that's a place that when we refer to the souls that pass on, they go to the higher realms of Gan Eden. People can access it down here, but generally it's harder because their bodies are very coarse. So the body becomes a distraction, even though it does not have to be. The way that Adam was before the sin, the body was not a distraction. The body was filled with light. But after he ate, the body became more distraction. It doesn't have to be. The body is here to bring you closer to Hashem, to be a vehicle to help bring you to Hashem. Just the coarseness of the body is a big distraction. We get overwhelmed by the coarseness of our body consciousness. And that's why many of us will spend so much time on body worship. Like I mentioned a number of times when I went to Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, I couldn't believe that people became their bodies. Because everybody knows that they're not in Gold's Gym in Venice Beach because they want to be healthy. You're there because you want this thing to become a machine. Or whatever else you've got going on in your mind. And I'll just leave you with one more thing. As a way of, this is something we want to move away from. I saw somebody showed me an interview with Mr. America, one of the guys, these guys like a few years ago, that now is like a shriveled up raisin. Poor guy. Stay away from roids. A public service announcement for all of humanity. As a preface to that story, I'll tell you another story. That there was one of the guys that, he was a workout guy here with us in the yeshiva, and he was walking somewhere in town, and he was looking to get like one of these buckets, like a bucket, you know what I mean, with like protein stuff in there. So if you go into a shop and the guys selling those buckets are like, weaklings, so you move on to the next shop. But he walked into one of these like one of these protein shops, and the guy in there was a monster. He was like, so he felt probably, he's qualified to sell the stuff. So he walks in there, he's like, which one do you take? So the guy's like, me? Like, I juice, brother. Like juice, like needles. He's like, okay, I'm going to be walking away from this situation right now. Okay, back to the original story. You see what happens when we talk about this? You just have to make it very clear what not to do. So the interview was with Mr. America, and he was talking about what his day looked like. So the interviewer was like some 60-minute thing, was like, okay, take me through your day. So he was a very high-strung guy. He was like, so I wake up.
40 raw eggs.
Like 40 raw eggs. Was like playing like that. I go to the gym, like 3.5 hours legs. And then I take another 40 eggs at like 7:24 a.m. And then it was like very intense. I think it was very like his face got red, all just like talking about his day, like bulging veins everywhere. like, I didn't know your diet was such an intense thing. And then I go to the gym another 7 hours, and then I jump into just ice. I just stay in like an ice immersion bath for like 42 minutes. All the other guys are like, yeah, that's gonna help. I see some nodding heads like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He just sits in ice to prevent the inflammation, whatever. And at the end of this like long rant of his day, which was detailed, and him like getting really worked up out of it, he said, the interviewer said, like, what about like friends? Like, do you have time for like interpersonal relationships or anything like that? And he got like, you know, I wish I could have time for friends, but I don't have time. The second best guy can have friends, but I can't. I don't have time for friends. And the interviewer was like, he didn't say this word, but Nebuch. Nebuch, I feel so sad for you. You just came to worship. I gave an extreme example, but that was a product of Adam after the sin, of a hyper-identification with our body. And that's the baby in the womb that said, bro, this is it. Because if you believe this is it, you better pump this machine up, jack it up as much as possible, because there's nothing else that's coming. And the other brother says, I feel so bad for you. There's a world to come. There's a mission here. And the mission is that the soul should teach the body. The soul should guide the body. The soul learns from the Torah. The Torah becomes our marching orders. How to take care of my body. How to live a life that will take me to the next world in that healthy way. We're davening Mirz Hashem that all of us understand the marching orders and we beat the drum to the beat of the Torah, going with Hashem's Torah, building our devekas to Hashem. And the formula is very simple. It's called wake up and do 613 mitzvahs. That's it. So when the 60-minute interviewer says to us, so tell me your day. Well, 613 mitzvahs. That's my day. And then they're going to say to you, well, you tell me, please, how can I do that also? Because I also want to join you in this world to come, in this perfected community that's coming. We should be zoich to this with Meshit Tzidkin ben Mary. Amen. Amen. Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi Isai.